Dímelo, mi gente, que lo que? Y'all already know this is Punch on Boxing, aka Mr. Moonshine himself. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all already know I pride myself in breaking things down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. And I understand that this community is one hell of a cesspool. I understand there's a lot of Canelo Alvarez fans and there's a lot of Canelo Alvarez haters. I'm a Canelo Alvarez fan, but also, just as much as I praise Canelo Alvarez, sometimes I could slightly have critical thoughts or hold them slightly accountable. I mean, look, Canelo Alvarez has done it all. He's carried the sport of boxing. He is the 4th-division world champion, super middleweight undisputed, King Nelo, aka Cartelo, aka Cash Nelo, aka Payday, aka get the fuck out of here, man. Yeah, I understand that if you do critique Canelo Alvarez just a slight bit, or have anything critical, slightly critical thing to say or think, they automatically, the supporters automatically want to push you into you're the hater, because I understand this community, there's so much hate of Canelo Alvarez, and there's so much people that create negative narrative around Canelo Alvarez that the Canelo Alvarez fans always on defensive mode, and I understand that. You know what I'm saying? I was like that in this community as well, but I can't let the hate dictate how I should deliver the content or things of that nature. So I did a video almost 2 years ago, and this was prior to Canelo Alvarez facing Caleb Plant. And I said I did not want him to make the same mistake that Roy Jones Jr. made. Now, Roy Jones Jr. is one of my favorite fighters all time. And we all know that Roy Jones Jr., when he became the heavyweight champion of the world, it was really nothing left for him to prove. Nothing left for him to prove. He went back down and fought Antonio Tarver. He beat Antonio Tarver with a controversial victory. But we all know that he wasn't the same. Playing with his weight, coming back down, draining himself and stuff like that. It was really nothing left for him to prove. And then he gave Antonio Tarver the rematch, and then he got knocked out, and then he fought Glenn Johnson, and he got knocked out. And we already know that his legacy didn't take a hit because he was still a first ballot Hall of Famer, but the way that people saw him, you know what I'm saying? If he would have retired when he beat John Ruiz, arguably he would have been the best ever, right? Now he's just one of the greatest, right? But people don't talk about him as being the greatest ever, like the GOAT, right? Because how his career after that Antonio Tarver loss. What was Roy Jones Jr.'s purpose after the John Ruiz fight? He didn't have a purpose. There's money in the table, checks to be made, check to cash, and that's it. So the question is, what's Canelo Alvarez's purpose? Think about it. Canelo Alvarez is going to be facing Jermell Charlo, the undisputed Iron Man in the 154-pound division, which is a great fight and a great opportunity for Jermell Charlo. I know that Jermell Charlo has a purpose to fight and to beat a Canelo Alvarez, right? His purpose to beat Canelo Alvarez, dare to be great, you know what I'm saying? Become a 2-division undisputed champion of the world. How many fighters have done that in the history of the sport of boxing? Canelo Alvarez has given Jermell Charlo the opportunity to be great, like people have given him the opportunity to be great, like guys like Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Hall of Fame fighters that, you know, has made the resume of Canelo Alvarez sexy because of these legendary fighters as well, right? Triple G and things of that nature. But what is his purpose? We understand what Canelo Alvarez, after he fought Caleb Plant, became undisputed. And then he went, and then he got that DAZN deal and fought Bivol, but yet had the Triple G trilogy as the second fight in that deal. A lot of people was trying to question Canelo Alvarez if that's a cherry pick. That was so stupid. No, of course not. No, Bivol was not a damn cherry pick, man. The Bivol is probably the best opponent to anybody's resume outside of Canelo Alvarez, right? But the standard of Canelo Alvarez, there was haters that was calling him Bivol cherry pick. Crazy, right? But I can say this, that Canelo Alvarez did look past, or we could say that deal looked past his opponent, in which was Bivol at the time, right? It's not like this deal, the PBC deal, that he got a 3-fight deal, but we don't know who's next. We don't know who's the second fight or the third fight, but we knew in the zone deal that Triple G trilogy was the next. So technically speaking, that deal looked past the Bivol fight because there was already another fight written there. Now, What was his purpose after the trilogy, or with the trilogy? What's his purpose versus John Ryder? Canelo Alvarez has done it all, man. His potential opponents haven't even done 25% of what Canelo Alvarez has done. Not even a quarter, man. None of these guys, to be honest, is gonna give. It's not gonna enhance Canelo Alvarez's resume or accomplishment. He's actually doing He's actually giving the opportunity. So what's Canelo Alvarez's purpose? Because if you don't have no purpose, then you're probably just fighting for the check. And I think that's what Canelo Alvarez right now with the 3-fight deal, over $100 million given by PBC. Look, it's okay to fight for the money as well, because you're a prize fighter, man. We work to get paid. We work to feed our family. We work to pay the bills. Whether you're working in a job or entrepreneurship, and these fighters are prize fighters. You know what I'm saying? They all looking for payday. Let's be honest. But what is Canelo Alvarez's purpose? Canelo Alvarez got nothing to prove. Let's be real, let's be honest. And let's be real, let's be honest. Canelo Alvarez slightly has been declining, especially his stamina. Let's be real, let's be honest. That's a fair critique, right? There's no hate to say that. That Canelo Alvarez, who's turned a professional at the age of 15, have a lot of wear and tear, not just in fights, but I'm talking about if you started as a pro at the age of 15, just imagine how many camps, just imagine how many sparring sessions. So even when Oscar De La Hoya recently just stated that said that Canelo Alvarez is a old 33 years old, yeah, we see that his knees is lacking. We see that there's lingering injuries with Canelo Alvarez and stuff like that. And he worked so hard, he really took a break. Matter of fact, he didn't even take a year off after his surgery. 6 months and he right back in it, right? What is Canelo Alvarez's purpose? Because if you don't have no purpose, then that second wind, you can't catch that second wind. He couldn't catch that second win even in the trilogy in the championship rounds. He couldn't catch that second win with the Dimitri Bivol fight. He couldn't catch that second win. Maybe in the last, maybe the last 2 rounds, maybe he did pretty solid. But John Ryder should have never survived that fight, and we all know that. Should have never survived that fight. 2 guys in 2 different type of levels. Canelo Alvarez is fighting without a purpose like Roy Jones Jr. did. Canelo Alvarez, and I said this in my video that I did almost 2 years ago, that I really didn't want Canelo Alvarez to overstay his welcome. Jermell Charlo is at his peak right now. However, maybe y'all a fan of Jermell Charlo or not. I am a fan of Jermell Charlo, just like I'm a fan of Canelo Alvarez. What I love about both of these guys is that they carved their own legacy, right? Jermell Charlo became an undisputed in a division where it didn't have a lot of attractive names in it, but he carved his own legacy. When his back was against the wall, he pushed forward. He went back to the drawing board and did what he had to do and stop his opponent, stop Tony Harrison, stop Jason Rosario, stop Brian Castano. Just like Canelo Alvarez running 168, he stopped Smith, and he stopped Saunders, and he stopped Caleb Plant. But there was no purpose after that. There was no really mega fight or mega, yes, we want to see the David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez, but really what David Benavidez has really done. Let's be real, let's be honest. He gave the right guy the opportunity, the guy that actually carved the legacy on a pound for pound list, especially on my pound for pound list, and has done something great. But what is Canelo Alvarez's purpose? I don't want Canelo Alvarez to finish his career like a Roy Jones Jr. because I do really think, to be honest, that Canelo Alvarez, from the outside looking in, have nothing left to prove. Now, he's fighting a guy September 30th with a guy with a purpose. Canelo Alvarez, a lot of people didn't even understand why Canelo Alvarez is fighting Jermell Charlo. Even though I feel like it's a great fight, they're the same size. We've seen that Canelo Alvarez been fighting bigger guys for such a long time that people got used to of Canelo Alvarez beating up little guys, and people forget that he's David and not Goliath. He just have beaten Goliath time and time again, that we forgot about his height. And I'm talking about collectively. I already know that Canelo Alvarez is even shorter than Floyd Mayweather, the same size as Teofimo Lopez and things of that nature. So we all know that Canelo Alvarez was small, but a lot of people got used to it because he's been doing big things for quite some time. But what is his purpose? If Canelo Alvarez loses to Jermell Charlo, believe it or not, people are going to question his greatness. It's unfortunate. He's great. He already got to cement the legacy. He's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. Just like Roy Jones Jr. was, but when he took several losses, the immortality of his legacy was kind of, it took a hit. The immortality took a hit. Right now, people, after the healing plant, people just certify that he's the best, especially the best Mexican that ever lived. When he took that loss, now people are saying, don't even, it's not even debatable. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. is always going to be the great. You know why? Because he kept on going. In boxing, whatever goes up, 9 out of 10 comes back down. A lot of greats has fallen. You know, Mike Tyson. A lot of people forgot about the guys that he lost to in the end. Roy Jones Jr., Roberto Duran. A lot of greats. Archie Moore, Joe Louis, and almost every great has taken a lot of losses in the end. Canelo Alvarez may have overstayed his welcome. He just surpassed all his contemporaries, and they didn't even match anything that he's really done or even close to it. I believe that Canelo Alvarez really doesn't have that purpose, and Canelo Alvarez probably has overstayed his welcome, and it's not his fault. It's just that he's ahead of his time. Understand? Just like Roy Jones Jr. was just ahead of his time. Think about it. He beat Bernard Hopkins a long time ago, and Bernard Hopkins wasn't even the Bernard Hopkins. He beat James Toney when people was trying to say that Roy Jones Jr. ain't fight nobody after being Bernard Hopkins and James Toney and things of that nature. He was just ahead of his time. And Canelo Alvarez of this generation is just ahead of his time. So I'm afraid that Canelo Alvarez may have overstayed his welcome because he really got nothing to prove, and I don't see the purpose. And when you don't have no purpose, you're just going through the motions. Just like that Bivol fight. He was going through the motion. Really didn't have a game plan. He was going through the motions in the trilogy with Triple G. He shouldn't have been in the ring for 12 rounds with John Ryder. Let me know what y'all think. See, that's my critical thought. Canelo Alvarez is still the king of boxing because ain't nobody going to surpass him. And that's why he's still on the pound-for-pound list, high on the pound-for-pound list. It's good. I'm going to tell you like this. You could give most of these guys 2 careers. Like, end your career now and start all over, and you still might not do what Canelo Alvarez has done. That's how special Canelo Alvarez is, and he is a all-time great. But it becomes a time when, in boxing, you really got nothing to prove. There's no purpose. You overstayed your welcome, and the only thing left is a bunch of checks on the table. And with a guy with Canelo Alvarez, there's always going to be checks because he's Canelo. So when do you stop? Let me know what y'all think, man. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Do not be surprised if Jermell Charlo does win. Don't be surprised. I'm not saying that Charlo's going to win, but I'm just saying do not be surprised. Because the decline of his stamina, if it goes to the championship rounds, and the punch resistance of Jermell Charlo, you know what I'm saying, and his output has increased. I believe that Jermell Charlo is at his peak right now with the tutelage of Joanne Guzman. Derrick James has done a wonderful job. Can we honestly say that Canelo Alvarez is getting better? Can we honestly say that Canelo Alvarez is looking special? Or he's just looking like a great fighter? Could we? Let's think about that. What is Canelo Alvarez's purpose? Can you answer that? Put it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. See, I'm a fan. I break it down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. I praise my favorite fighters and hold them slightly accountable, but just be real. Just break it down objectively. Let me know what y'all think, man. And for the people that hate Canelo Alvarez, stop it. He's great for boxing. And for the people that's always trying to debunk who hates Canelo Alvarez, we're better than that, right? Let's set the tone. It's time for us to set the tone. Love you. God bless, and on to the next.